my fellow classmates and future MSW colleagues. This is myself, my dyad partner. Well, first off, my name is Yolanda Johnson, and my dyad partner is Miss Amy Gentry, and we will be presenting our condition presentation on dementia. I will be presenting role A, of course, and Miss Amy Gentry will be presenting role B. To get right into our presentation, I will start off with the overview of the condition. Basically, dementia is a general term for a decline in mental cognition or the abilities that has an impact on the client's daily life, basically. So what is dementia overall? Dementia is not a specific disease in any relation to age. However, older adults are at a greater risk of developing behavioral manifestations associated with dementia. Therefore, dementia is a general disease that describes a group of symptoms listed in the DSM-5 that affect memory, thinking, and social abilities. These symptoms have a huge tendency to significantly interfere with the individual's daily function. And to move right into the DSM-5 criteria based on the facts, and I wanted to do it this way because we hear about dementia a lot, but we don't really understand what the facts truly is based on the DSM-5 criteria with what we hear every day, which is fiction, most of it. The neurocognitive disorder, or NCDs, referred to in the DSM-5 are all evidence of dementia due to the symptoms associated with these diseases. For instance, Alzheimer's disease, which is a progressive disease that destroys memory and other mental functions, which makes Alzheimer's disease fall under the umbrella of symptoms associated with dementia. Alzheimer's does have a tendency to be more prone to older adults. So to move on to Lewy body disease, we don't really hear about, this was actually my first time hearing about this disease. But Lewy body disease is one of the most common causes of dementia in elderly clients. Lewy bodies are basically abnormal protein deposits that are called alpha-synuclein deposits that affect the chemicals equilibrium in the brain and can lead to cognitive dysfunction such as movement issues, behavioral abnormalities, and mood disorders. So that is a significant association with dementia, or it falls under the dementia umbrella. Third, we have vascular disease. Vascular disease is significant because our brain's chemicals our brain is very sensitive in the environment to which it is in our skull. But vascular disease can affect, those symptoms can be associated with dementia because clients who become demented due to vascular disease usually have an insignificant blood supply to the brain, or those white blood cells and red blood cells can cause some of those symptoms associated with dementia. And then we also understand traumatic brain injury, and we know how that can definitely have an effect on our cognition, and it can be also associated with dementia. And prion disease can also be associated with dementia because it's basically a contagious disease that we can contract by contaminated meat that trigger abnormal proteins in the brain. And those proteins cause some of our brain's proteins to fold abnormally. The most common form of prion disease is Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease, or CJD. And we all are aware of Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, my father he struggled with Parkinson's disease, but basically Parkinson's disease attacks the central nervous system that affects movement and is considered progressive. But usually at the peak of the disease, we can see some of those symptoms associated with dementia. Not always, but it can happen. It's common. And then we have Huntington's disease, is a condition that causes nerve cells to break down over time in the brain, which can also lead to some of those symptoms too. And then we have frontotemporal lobar degeneration, or FTD, is a group of conditions that are progressive degeneration of the temporal and frontal lobes of the brain that control decision making, behavioral, emotion, and language. So that also is a degenerative disease associated with dementia. So we have a lot of different diseases under the dementia umbrella, but some of the fictional things we kind of overgeneralize because we don't really understand how intricate dementia is, or the diagnosis for dementia is just not, it's an overall, because there's so many different diseases that can give you those symptoms. So one fiction is dementia is the same as Alzheimer's. No, it's not the same. Alzheimer's is a disease by itself. However, patients or clients that have Alzheimer's exhibit those symptoms associated with dementia. It's kind of tricky, but once you kind of really think about it, it makes sense. And then we have another fiction phrase is dementia is inevitable as people age. That's not true. That's a lot of ageism associated with that statement. Dementia is not inevitable and is not age specific. As you can see in the symptoms, traumatic brain injury. Anybody can have traumatic brain injury and at any age, and that can lead to symptoms associated with dementia. So can HIV and vascular disease. So yeah, it's a lot of different things. And then the diseases that I listed, I really think it's really more than those diseases, because I'm sure it's some cancers or brain cancers that can also cause symptoms associated with dementia. But another fiction is people with dementia can't communicate. But that's not true, because people with dementia, it just depends on what part of the brain is being overwhelmed with the illness. So that's just an overgeneralization to just say all people with dementia can't communicate. And then behind my sign, you can't see it, but it really says dementia is genetic. That's another overgeneralization. It's not genetic. As you can see, there's a lot of diseases associated with the symptoms of dementia, so we just can't say all of those diseases are genetic. And to move on, I posted a video to basically reiterate in more detail what dementia is and how it affects us at different ages, and not just how it affects us, but how it affects our families, how we relate to the disease, and how we really understand what dementia is. So I really wanted to give you like a really short, sweet video because I enjoyed it, and it was very informative, and I think it'll be the same for you. So this puts a closing to my portion of the video, and my dyad partner, Miss Amy Gentry, will pick up from here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a wonderful day.